been how my life has unfolded. I was in just tremendous pain and stuck in addiction, drug addiction in particular. But I came to find out that that miracle wasn't enough to live a great life. With yoga and meditation, I'm in the room all the time. And then he looked at me and he goes,
That's what we want.
that's what he said. He goes, yeah. So that's a good understanding of what psychedelics are. It's like a trailer to a movie. You can see the trailer, but you want to see the movie, or you don't get to the movie through psychedelics. Nobody gets away from this. It's the Recovery 2.0 prayer.
You lead.
Okay.
Okay.
Bring the palms together at the heart.
Tommy? Ruth. I'm speechless. I don't know how I can lead this interview. I've seen you sit in front of me over here like this,
I'm so grateful to be here.
in this beautiful setting.
Wonderful.
And that's what's inspirational about you.
Thank you.
That you have so much grace
Thank you.
and you bring about these positive emotions in people whenever there is an interaction.
Thank you.
So
So much for saying that.
Tommy Rosen is a legend in the field of recovery. He has been in recovery programs himself, coming from the AA Alcoholics Anonymous program. He's progressed and taken this field onto a different plane completely by mixing what he's learned from AA, things that have worked in the past, with everything that he's learned on his path in yoga, spirituality, fitness, a strong mindset, of course, which really is at the core of all the work that he does. So he's the founder of Recovery 2.0. He's written a book called Recovery 2.0, old teachings that are relative to our times in so many ways. And so here we are. Thank you again for joining, Tommy.
My pleasure.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background very briefly?
I have a long and vast resume. For some reason in this life, I have had to go through a lot of different forms of addiction and to learn the difficult lessons that each of those experiences gave me. And then heal from that and recognize that because the experience of going through those addictions made me uniquely suited to be helpful to other people who would have similar challenges. Ended up being sort of the focus of my life and my work. So none of this was planned. I didn't plan on bringing the powerhouse of yoga, the life path of yoga, to the field of addiction recovery. I didn't plan any of that, but that has been how my life has unfolded. I was in just tremendous pain in my life as a person stuck in addiction, drug addiction in particular, and then I would overcome that. And for many, many, many years, I would learn to move into what I would call solid abstinence. So meaning I've let go of the substance and I no longer desire it, which is a miracle unto itself. But I came to find out that that miracle wasn't enough to live a great life. What that did was it put me in the pole position to be able to live a great life. To live a life of abstinence means you're defining yourself by something that you no longer do. I used to drink alcohol. Now I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm abstinent from alcohol. I'm defined by the act of not drinking. My identity becomes conflated with the idea that I no longer do that. Much more powerful, empowering, to live a life where you are living for something, living for health, wellness, great relationships, power, in the best sense of that word. One wants to be defined by these things, not by the things that you can no longer do. But in order to have great relationships and in order to be a creative being, in order to be healthy and well, that requires the life path of yoga. For those people who think you don't have to do yoga to live a great life, you don't understand my definition of yoga.
What is your definition of yoga, Tommy?
Yoga is the place where everything connects. Yoga is the state of being where there's calmness in the mind, ease in the body, and a connected spirit. Yoga is a practice, a physical practice, yes, but we're not talking about just the physical practice of yoga. We're speaking about the life path of yoga, which includes ethics, values, morals, and a complete design for living life, a way of relating to other people, most importantly, a way of discovering the divinity within yourself.
Regardless of your religious background. Is this correct?
This has nothing to do with religion.
Okay.
This is not a religious concept.
We are taught morality in religions and we are given religious practices that should be bringing us closer to God. What does yoga do or add to that.
Yoga brings you in contact with your true self, not as a belief system. Often religions and religious pursuit is based on a belief. So for example, I believe in God. I believe in the Christian perspective, I believe in Jesus, the crucifixion. I believe in the Mother Mary. I believe in the Trinity. These are all concepts, powerful, beautiful concepts. But one wants to have a relationship where you go beyond belief into knowledge, into direct contact. So it would be much more powerful. We could agree to say, I don't believe in God. I know God. I have a direct relationship with God. I work on that relationship every day.
So you're culturing a sensitivity within you through your practices. It gets you in a certain tune or state of mind or emotional.
No question, there's something that's in the way between people and their relationship with spirit, the divine. And so yoga is really a subtractive process. We're not adding anything to you because nothing can be added to something that's already perfect. You are already divine in your true nature, perfection, pure, light awareness, consciousness itself. You're like a localized unit of infinity.
All of us.
Everyone has this potential to realize that. Everybody is that. But we get very disconnected from that. Yoga is the reconnection to that truth, not as a concept or a belief system, but as a knowledge and a wisdom and experience.
It's something to be experienced.
Absolutely.
One thing that I've picked up in my teachings within yoga is that you cannot, and something that my teacher and somebody you're very fond of as well, Anand Mehrotra, mentions it, that you cannot think your way to enlightenment.
Yes. So
There's something there that we can link towards drug addiction as well.
Sure.
That goes beyond what you want in your mind, the thought of, this is not serving me anymore. I'm going to give it up at some point.
All addiction comes from an identity crisis. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how I'm supposed to be here, how I'm supposed to plug into this world. Since I don't know myself in my true nature, I'm externally focused. So I look to the world, to people and places and things, drugs, alcohol, relationships, money, career, creativity, drama, family, everything. I look out here to try to solve my identity crisis. Maybe you have it for me. I look to a woman, I look to a man, I look to an experience. Maybe if I had this adventure, I will be free all of a sudden. I'll be relieved. I'll feel better.
Entertained, for sure.
Distracted, at least.
Distracted.
What am I distracting myself from? The fact that I don't know who I am. Yoga puts you in contact with that. What's in the way? Thoughts, memories, trauma, drama, family, other people's opinions, marketing, advertising, drugs and alcohol, our positions that we grip onto, all of our attachments, all of these things are in the way.
You talk about drugs and alcohol, but you've also identified something that you refer to as the big six, which is not just drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
What are they?
So the big six was my effort to explain addiction in a broader context in the human experience. So the first two are drugs and alcohol, but then you have food addictions. Now, most people understand that food can be addictive for some people. We can emotionally eating disorders such as anorexia or bulimia. The human relationship with food can become an addictive relationship. Very important that we understand that. When, in the United States at least, something like 1 out of every 3 people is now obese in the United States. I guess you could say, well, that's not really a problem, except for the fact that it's painful, except for the fact that it leads to the medical pandemics of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, people living miserably in a body that's very uncomfortable and painful to be in. And we're not talking about socially. We're talking about it's physically painful to be in this body.
A heavy body.
Yes.
Unhealthy body.
Yes, and it's not to say anything against people who are heavy in their body. If you're comfortable and happy and at ease, I'm all for it. Most people that I speak to, when they're honest with themselves, would say, yeah, you know, this is hard on my joints. It's hard on the organs of my body. I feel pain in my body. And as those people get into their 50s and 60s, trust me, you really, really start to feel it. So those are addictions. Behaviors that you continue despite bringing negative consequences into your life. Drugs, alcohol, food. Then you have the people addictions, codependency, relationship disorders. I don't know where I end and you begin. I don't know how to set boundaries. I try to control and manipulate you in my relationships. These are addictive behaviors, super painful. Engaging in the sexual act, devoid of love, over and over again, trying to get the same relief that a drug addict needs or a food addict needs or an alcoholic needs. Drugs, alcohol, food, people. The money addictions are gambling addiction, and that's a big one in the world. But also over shopping, hoarding, and being constantly in a state of debt. It's an addiction at the level of the individual, in debt to banks or in debt to people that they know. It's also an addiction at the level of society. The United States has a small debt problem.
A small one.
Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. No society can function forever like that. So those are 5. And then the 6, of course, is technology. Not all technology is bad or addictive, but human beings can have an addictive relationship with their devices, as we well know. Everybody knows this now. So those are the big 6. Most of us can relate to at least being involved in some of those addictions in some way. But let's say that you're not. And then we have the 4 aggravations. The 4 aggravations are negative thinking, self-doubt, procrastination, and resentment.
These aggravate your addictions? Or
These are aggravations. I call them aggravations, but they're addictions too.
they're addictions too?
Any behavior you continue, despite it bringing a negative consequence into your life.
It's called an addiction.
In my definition, yes.
Any behavior you continue despite it bringing a negative consequence to your life.
Yes.
All right. You touched on something in one of your podcasts. I love listening to your podcasts,
Thank you.
as you're always an incredible speaker, and there's so much there to unpack. And you touched on something called a high bottom, right? And so a lot of people that I come across, and even myself in the past, I said, I function perfectly well when you're able to function under the use of marijuana or cocaine or, maybe psychedelics, which are becoming more and more common these days on a regular basis, which means that you're going to work, you're performing social activities, spending time with your family, and things seem to be going fine on the outside. Is that what a high bottom is?
The bottom is simply the moment when somebody's willing to tell the truth or able. You reach a bottom and it sounds like, I don't know what the next move is. I don't know what to do. I'm in trouble. I don't know my way forward. I'm struggling. I'm unhappy. I lack contentment in my life. And the bottom is just the moment where you can honestly admit that to yourself at least, and perhaps to another person when you ask them for help. Tell someone, I don't know what to do. Now, almost every human being reaches this place in their life at some point. So this is not limited to people who struggle with addiction, or this is the human condition. It is beautiful to be human, an unbelievable gift. And it's painful and difficult also. And when we come to those moments in life where difficulty arises and we don't know the way forward, if we can say to ourselves humbly, wow, I'm really struggling here. I need help. I need guidance. I need a friend. I need to connect with somebody that can help me find the next right step for me. That's a bottom. The idea is to live your greatest life. So any thought of managing, getting through, just surviving, like we want to elevate that to how can we live a great day today? Now, I recognize there are people in the world who are in situations that are incredibly difficult. War-torn areas, impoverished areas, and I'm not forgetting about that group of people. It's just that every human being can elevate their experience of this life from where they are if they turn their gaze inward and work from the inside out. Addiction is outside in.
Mm-hmm.
That requires the life path of yoga. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again to anyone who will listen, to adopt this life path. Learn to live from the inside out. Break your dependency upon people, places, and things. Create a steadiness and a strength inside yourself that is unmatched. You can become the eye of the hurricane. So everyone around you can be losing their mind, but you are centered. You are calm, and you will bring the world back to calmness with your presence. And this is possible for almost anybody in almost any circumstance.
techniques are the same across the board. You've had your experience with drugs, some of the most crippling drugs, if you'd like to talk about them. If I'm just a nicotine smoker and, I happen to use Instagram like same way 80% of people use it, I know it might be hurting me, but the consequence seems futile, at least in the present moment.
Seems minimal.
Minimal is the right word.
People change their behavior either because they have to, or the desire rises in them to experience something that they haven't experienced yet. If I'm using Instagram, scrolling like most people do, I lose 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes just scrolling. And I don't think there's any problem with that. And I've enjoyed my time scrolling, and I've taken in all the opinions and the offerings of other people. Probably in 60 minutes, you take in, 600 images, maybe 1,000, if you're scrolling like that.
Not something we've evolved to process.
No, but a person could say to themselves, I'm fine with this behavior. I like to pass my time this way. And I would say, okay, it's a free world. Then there's the person who does that and they feel something inside. They feel, I'm not sure that's good for me. I'm not sure that's the best use of my time. I bet there's something else I could have done with that hour that would be more aligned with my heart and my spirit. That's the person that wants to change. It's not that I don't care about the other person who is interested in just keeping things the way they are. I'm just into freedom, and I believe everybody should have freedom to do what they want to do. If you want to scroll on Instagram and that works for you, you and I are probably not going to cross paths. But the minute a behavior that you take on brings up inside of you a questioning, is this right for me? God, I think there's something more. That's the person I want to hang out with. That's the person that's going to walk with me, shoulder to shoulder, down the path. Not because of me, but because of them. Because their heart and their spirit are asking for something else. Same with cannabis. You smoke pot, you love smoking pot? Okay, smoke pot. You smoke all day long? Smoke all day long. I don't care. I really don't care. It's none of my business. But some of those people come to a place in their life where they say, I think I'd like to find out what my life would be like if I didn't do this. And then they go down a path of abstinence first, and then hopefully recovery. And then here's the thing, they get introduced to the massive upgrade. Because, and I'm going to be blunt here, in the universe of possibilities, of ways that you can fulfill your heart's desire, satisfy your soul, live fully, in the universe of possibilities, Instagram is literally like a piece of shit on the ground that you pass by and decide to play with for a long time compared to what's waiting for you when you check in with yourself. Like literally. And cannabis, cheap high. The cheapest compared to what you get when you relate to your own divinity. When you fall in love with life. When you live in awe and wonder. So it's just a question of, if you're happy turd on the ground and that's your thing, because you don't know that there's a better option, but you don't want to hear about a better option and you're not drawn to a better option, there's nothing I can do. It's none of my business.
So cannabis does give us an elevated feel for things, right? And so we get to enjoy music a little bit better, things taste better, things seem a little bit more bright in the moment.
Seems like a price you have to pay.
There is a price to that.
Yes.
How does the connectedness and what comes through your practice and what you get to bring into your life on a daily basis compare to a cannabis high? Can we compare them?
There's no comparison. The joy and the awe and the wonder of life, of being awake, of being connected, of being in love with life itself. I mean, cannabis pales in comparison. I had a 10-year relationship with cannabis. I speak from direct experience. I don't regret having that relationship. It's all I knew at the time. I just didn't know the upgrade. And now that I've felt the upgrade, you couldn't get me to go back there for anything.
You've touched on freedom. We're speaking about freedom.
Sure.
In the search for drugs, I just want to get clear for this, or in the use of drugs. What are we searching for? Is it freedom? Do we get to experience freedom through drugs? Is it an escape from whatever it is that we're feeling in the moment? Is it something that helps us go inwards? I'm a little bit lost as to as to what that is and if it's the same across the board with all these drugs. And you speak a lot about freedom in your work.
The freedom I'm speaking of has to do with one's connection with their highest self, with higher reality, with God, or whatever your word is for that. Some people call it Jesus, Allah,
Elohim.
Elohim, Yahweh. There's countless names, countless. In most of those templates of reaching God, God is outside. You have to experience God. You have to reach out yet again. God must be out here somewhere in the heavens or whatever the image is.
Mm-hmm.
In our understanding and experience with God and spirit, it's everything or it's nothing. And so it's a choice. You can live in a universe that has no spirit. I don't recommend it. Or you can live in a universe where you develop a relationship with spirit in all, in everything, including you. And that's what your identity is, divine. You are a piece of it. It's expressing itself through you right now and me right now. It wants to be here. It is consciousness itself, expressing as you and expressing as me. Obviously, we have these cameras over here. These guys are here. All of this is God. We're all here. And that's all I was ever looking for, is that connection. And I looked in all the wrong places, and I tried all the ways to try to solve my riddle, the riddle of my life, in external ways. And then a yogi came and said, turn your gaze inward. You've been looking in the wrong place. And I did that. And I made a practice out of that, a daily practice out of that 30 years ago. And that has revealed to me the things about which we are speaking. Now it's be here.
What have you set yourself free from?
Misunderstanding,
Misunderstanding.
ignorance, addiction, all the pain and suffering that goes with that identity crisis that we started speaking about. I don't know who I am. I set myself free from that misunderstanding.
I'd like to talk about psychedelics.
Yeah.
With you.
Love to.
I hear a lot that this was instrumental in the 70s in a shift in consciousness. This was the same time that a lot of the yogic masters left India and were teaching in the US.
Yes.
This did spur a movement of some sort in consciousness. And today we're hearing a lot about microdosing, various sorts of psychedelics, ayahuasca experiences that are helping people find themselves, find the divine, let go of trauma, connect, and they come out of there feeling absolutely fabulous.
It's an incredibly incomplete picture, what you just described. Psychedelics are a tool, very useful under certain circumstances, for certain people, under certain contexts. I have a huge history with psychedelics personally in my life. I'm grateful for what psychedelics showed me. And after I took a lot of psychedelics and learned a lot, I became a heroin and cocaine addict. So it wasn't the psychedelics' fault that I became a heroin and cocaine addict. I just say that to point out that it didn't solve my riddle. I was still seeking, and I was seeking in substances, and in this case, highly addictive substances. I was seeking relief. Why? What was I missing? Me. I was missing me. I had looked for me in psychedelics and thought I found me. Having thought I found the solution, the answer, the cosmic message came through.
It did.
So I felt.
Yes.
And so I made psychedelics my path. Big mistake. Again, these are a tool for some people at certain points in time, in certain contexts, for certain reasons. If you make psychedelics the path, they will become addictive. And you'll be on the same train yet again. Although in this case, you'll think, I found it. Because it's so profound an experience, the psychedelic experience.
It is.
So profound. I found it. And if you make that your path, you're still living outside in.
Even though it's showing you what's inside.
It's giving you clues.
Okay.
It's giving you a glimpse of something. And when that trips over, you get kicked out of the room. I spoke with Ram Dass this one time before he died, before he left his body. He said, I used to take psychedelics and I felt like I was in the room with Jesus. He said, but at the end of the night, I'd get kicked out of the room. He said, but now with yoga and meditation, I'm in the room all the time. And then he looked at me and he goes, yeah.
That's what we want.
So that's a good understanding of what psychedelics are. It's like a trailer to a movie. You can see the trailer, but you want to see the movie, or you don't get to the movie through psychedelics. You can get a glimpse. Then you have to do your work. Nobody gets away from this. That's why I keep telling people, you want to take psychedelics and have that experience, okay, do it, but do it consciously and do it well and do it appropriately. Learn everything you can. And that next day, get ready to wake up and do your life, because you're still going to have to live one day at a time. And the psychedelics will have shown you something, perhaps. If it knocks you out of a depression, that's fantastic. Who would argue with that? Now you're going to have to do the work of your life so you don't fall back into depression and those old habits. I think people have this misunderstanding, like your question, this misunderstanding. If I take psychedelics, I'm cured of the human experience. No, you just see a little bandwidth of something that you couldn't see before. And now what will you do with that? How will you apply that to your life? I'm not against psychedelics. Like I said, I'm for freedom. I think people should have the freedom to try whatever they want to try. I really mean that, aside from hurting other people. But if you want to take psychedelics and have that experience, do it, but do it with wise people. And, wise people, that's a hard thing to find these days. Just because I take somebody through psychedelic journeys, does that mean they're wise? No. So be around wise people, have the experience, learn everything you can. But again, if you go into it thinking this is going to be a magic pill, or I hope this is a magic pill, you're already missing the point and setting yourself up to fail. If you go into it saying, this is going to be an interesting experience, let's see where it leads. That's a much better approach.
Tommy, you're an incredibly energetic, intelligent, well-spoken person. You've mentioned something around sensitivity and drug use, and that you have perhaps picked up on, your perception was that amongst all the people that you've met and treated in your life, many of them that were drug addicts were also highly sensitive. I've read a report a few years back that linked high IQ with drug addiction. So I'd like to just go from here onto the last topic over here around sensitivity.
I love it.
And garnering that sensitivity, and how do you take that sensitivity and turn it into something that's useful and meaningful to yourself?
Yes, beautiful. Well, I'll start by saying that people who have experienced addiction strongly and recover, for some reason, they're like my favorite people in the world. I ask myself, why is that true? Because they have a depth of experience, a very unique experience that not everybody has. For these people have really plumbed the depths of their souls, and they've become humble. Sometimes we've become humble because we were humiliated, or we just became humble because you have to be humbled to be able to say to somebody, I'm in trouble, I don't know the way forward, I need help. That's a humble statement to make. There's a great quote, there's two kinds of people in the world, people who are humble and people who are about to be. And to me, that's a really true statement. And so you come to this group of people who are humble through the pain of their experience. They share at a different level. They're able to express honestly and vulnerably things that some people would never think of expressing, would hold inside. And so there's a level of truthfulness in these people. And I love it. But in my reflection, the thing that I love most about these people is that they were attuned to the world in such a way that they knew it wasn't working. They knew there was something wrong. There was something out of whack, and they couldn't deal with it.
Is that the sensitivity?
Yes.
Okay.
They had the sensitivity to realize what's going on here is not okay. It's painful.
That's not intelligence, is it? It's something
Well, I think
beyond or prior to intelligence.
I think it's understanding. It's an ability to see clearly. Maybe not even at the conscious level, but it's like something's wrong in my environment, whether that's internally, in my family, in my house, in my school or my community, in my country, in society at large. Something's wrong. And I appreciate this group of people for seeing it. Even though their way of dealing with it was self-destructive, I still love them for it. I think people who struggle with addiction are advanced in so many ways. That's why when they get sober and they find true recovery, you recognize they're such powerful people.
Teachers.
Teachers, examples of victory. And you know, if before they found recovery, they were putting their energy into darkness, and they were very good at it and very powerful in that direction. So when they bring it the other direction and you bring it to the positive, think what these people are capable of, because they have that incredible drive and enthusiasm. So stepping into recovery is like recognizing there's a solution to the feeling that it's not okay what's going on in the world. There's a solution. There's a way to actually fix it. We were looking in the wrong place, which was to say we were looking externally. Drugs, alcohol, food, sex, people, money, gambling, shopping, drama, trauma, all of it. We thought we can fix it out here. But we were wrong. And we got our ass kicked. And then somebody told us, look inside, do the work here, change here, and this will change. And then we recognized the greatest lesson of all time, which was, it wasn't about external, it was about internal consciousness. It was about alignment with the greater consciousness. It was about attunement of the body and mind, that you could change your attunement through these practices of yoga, breathwork, meditation. And by changing your attunement on a daily basis, you could rise up above the influences which previously kept you in a state of depression, stress, anxiety. That you had a way to rise up above that. And all of a sudden life made sense. And then you recognize, okay, I'm free. I'm free of all of that used to imprison me. And I can now set about and get on the train of helping other people to realize the same thing. Because there's nothing else to do in this world that's more important. Nothing. So we can't live in a cave. This is not the time for that. We have to be in the world. We have to inspire people onto the path of yoga. Some people in the United States will say, well, oh, you think yoga is everything? Yes, exactly. There's nothing that's not yoga. And if you understand yoga in the expanded context, you'll understand what I mean by that. And once you step inside of that understanding, a lot of things become possible. So to finish, let's just say a quick prayer together, if you don't mind. It's the Recovery 2.0 prayer.
You lead.
Okay. I'll say it, then you can say it back.
Okay.
Okay? Bring the palms together at the heart. Universe.
Universe.
Put us in the places you want us to be.
Put us in the places you want us to be.
With the people you want us to be with.
With the people you want us to be with.
Doing the things you want us to do.
Doing the things you want us to do.
Thank you for the joys, challenges of our lives.
And challenges of our lives.
Amen.
Amen.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you for your trust and incredible effort on me.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.